We're back. Those two words didn't just drop, they detonated. At exactly 2:17 a.m., a message leaked from inside a private circle that was never supposed to go public, and within minutes, the entire internet was spiraling out of control. No announcement, no press release, no staged photos. Just three chilling words that instantly connected two names the world thought were done for good: Stefon Diggs and Cardi B. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable, because if this was really over, if everything we've been told about their split, the tension, the silence, the distance was real, then why are insiders suddenly whispering that this reunion didn't just happen, it was planned? Why were there late-night sightings that don't add up? Why did Cardi go completely silent right when things started trending? And why are people close to Diggs saying he's been moving like a man who already knew what was about to happen? This isn't just a comeback. This feels like a setup. Because once you see the timeline, the movements, and the moments nobody was supposed to catch, you're going to start asking the same question everyone else is afraid to say out loud. Were they ever really apart, or has this been playing out behind the scenes the entire time? To understand why those three words, "we're back," hit like a shockwave, you have to rewind, because this didn't start last night. This didn't start this week. This didn't even start this year. This story has been building quietly, dangerously for months. And at the center of it all are two people who were never supposed to cross paths like this again: Cardi B and Stefon Diggs. Now, on the surface, their relationship looked like a fresh start. A clean break from chaos. A new chapter after everything Cardi had been through with her past. When the rumors first started linking her to Diggs, people were skeptical, confused, even a little hopeful. Because for the first time in a long time, it felt like Cardi might have found something stable. But if you've been paying attention, really paying attention, nothing about this situation has ever been stable. From the very beginning, there were whispers. Not headlines. Whispers. The kind that float around private rooms, backstage conversations, and late-night phone calls. People close to both sides were already hinting that this connection wasn't as simple as it looked. That there were complications. That there were overlapping timelines. That there were things happening behind the scenes that the public wasn't ready to see. And then came the first cracks. Around Super Bowl season, something shifted. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was subtle, and that's what made it more dangerous. Cardi didn't go on a rant. She didn't post a long message. She didn't expose anything directly. Instead, she went quiet. And when Cardi B goes quiet, that's when people start paying attention. Because silence for her has always meant one thing: something is wrong. At the same time, Stefon Diggs was moving differently too. His name started popping up in conversations it didn't belong in. Rumors of other women. Rumors of new situations. Rumors that didn't fully make sense but kept repeating just enough to stick. And here's the part that made everything worse. Neither of them addressed it. No denial. No confirmation. No clarity. Just distance. Suddenly, the public appearances stopped. The energy shifted. The posts became less frequent. And the connection that once felt loud and visible started fading into something harder to read. That's when people assumed it was over. Clean break. No drama. No explosion. Just done. But here's the problem with that assumption. Nothing about Cardi B's life has ever ended quietly. Because while the public thought things were cooling off, insiders were telling a completely different story. According to multiple sources, there were still late-night conversations happening. Still indirect contact. Still a connection that hadn't fully been cut off. One insider put it like this: they weren't together, but they weren't done either. And that right there is where everything starts to get complicated. Because when two people aren't fully separated, every interaction matters. Every move matters. Every silence matters. And suddenly, things that look like coincidences start feeling like patterns. Fast forward a few weeks and things got even messier. There were sightings. Small ones at first. The kind you could easily dismiss. Same city. Same events. Same circles. Nothing concrete, but enough to raise eyebrows. Then came the bigger moments. Private gatherings where both names appeared on the guest list, but at different times. Events where one would show up late and the other would leave early. Rooms where people claimed they felt a shift the moment both of them were in the same space, even if they never spoke. It wasn't loud, but it was building. And the internet started catching on. Speculation turned into obsession. Every move was being tracked. Every silence was being analyzed. Every small detail was being turned into a theory. Were they avoiding each other? Or were they controlling the narrative? And just when it felt like things might settle down, they got worse. Because behind the scenes, something changed. The distance that once felt real started feeling intentional. Like it wasn't about separation anymore. It was about timing. And then came the moment nobody can fully explain. A private event. No cameras. No official footage. No public confirmation. Just a room full of people who weren't supposed to talk. And somehow, everyone started talking. Both of them were there. Same night. Same building. But they didn't arrive together. They didn't stand together. They didn't even acknowledge each other, at least not publicly. And that's what made it terrifying. Because when two people with that much history end up in the same space and act like strangers, that's not distance. That's awareness. That's control. That's unfinished business. And according to one insider who was in that room, the tension was so thick, you could feel it before you even saw them. But here's the question nobody could answer at the time. If it was really over, why were they still moving like this? Why were they still orbiting each other? Why did it feel like something was... Everything changed the moment the footage dropped. Not rumors. Not whispers. Not insider talk. Actual footage. And the second it hit the timeline, the internet didn't just react. It erupted. Because what those cameras caught that night in DC wasn't subtle. It wasn't up for interpretation. It wasn't one of those blurry, maybe that's them clips people argue over. It was clear. It was direct. And it was impossible to ignore. Cardi B walking out of the after party, not alone, not with security, not with her team, but stepping straight into a black SUV and sitting in the passenger seat, right next to Stefon Diggs. No hesitation, no confusion, no distance, just movement. Smooth, quiet, intentional. And then they pulled off together into the night. That was it. That was the moment everything snapped. Because for weeks, months, people had been debating whether they were done, whether the connection was real, whether it had ended quietly behind the scenes. But this wasn't quiet. This wasn't accidental. This was visible. And the reaction? Instant chaos. Social media exploded within seconds. Clips started circulating from every angle. People zooming in, slowing it down, replaying it frame by frame like they were trying to decode something deeper hidden inside that one moment. Comments flooded in faster than anyone could keep up. Ain't no way they back. After everything? She really got back in that car? He won. I'm sorry he won. And then came the part that made it even worse. The timeline didn't make sense. Because according to multiple sources, just hours before that moment, the two of them were not interacting. They were in the same space, but moving like strangers. No contact. No acknowledgement. Nothing. So what changed? What happened in that gap? What happened between the silence and that car ride? That's where things start to get dangerous. Because insiders began speaking, and their stories didn't match. One source claimed there was a private moment inside the venue. A quick exchange. Not loud. Not emotional. Just a conversation that lasted less than a minute, but changed the entire energy of the night. Another source said it wasn't inside at all, that the real interaction happened outside, away from the main crowd, where cameras weren't supposed to be. And then a third source dropped something even more unsettling. They were never as distant as people thought. That whole separation? That was controlled. Controlled. Let that sink in. Because if that's true, then everything we've been watching wasn't a breakup. It was a performance. And just when people were trying to process that, the first twist hit. Because right as the footage of Cardi and Diggs leaving together went viral, another post started spreading. Not from Cardi. Not from Diggs. From someone else entirely. A woman. Unknown to most people until that moment. She posted photos. Clear photos. Hospital photos. Ultrasound images. And a caption that stopped the entire conversation cold. While y'all celebrating, I've been quiet for a reason. No names mentioned. But the implication? Loud. Deafening. And the internet connected the dots instantly. Because within minutes, people were saying the same thing. Stefon Diggs might have another child on the way. And suddenly that car ride didn't look romantic anymore. It looked reckless. Because now the timeline wasn't just messy. It was overlapping. And that changed everything. Now, people weren't just asking if Cardi took him back. They were asking if she knew. Did she know before that night? Did she find out after? Was that conversation inside the venue about this? Or worse, was she choosing to ignore it? The reactions turned from excitement to anger to straight-up confusion. Ain't no way she don't know. He playing in her face again. This is worse than before. And just when it felt like the situation couldn't get more explosive, someone zoomed into the original footage again and caught something nobody noticed the first time. As Cardi gets into the car, she hesitates, just for a second, looks at Diggs, says something nobody can hear. And his reaction? He doesn't smile. He doesn't laugh. He goes still, dead still. Like whatever she said was not part of the plan. And that one moment, that tiny, almost invisible interaction, shifted the entire narrative again. Because now the question wasn't just, are they back? It became something much darker. What did she say in that car? And why did it look like he wasn't ready to hear it? The moment that silent car door exchange hit slow motion replay, everything exploded for a second time. Because now people weren't just watching a reunion anymore. They were watching a situation that felt out of control. And the internet did what it always does when uncertainty turns into obsession. It filled in the blanks with fire. Within hours, Cardi B and Stefon Diggs were trending again, but this time the tone had completely shifted. It wasn't excitement anymore. It was suspicion. It was confusion. It was chaos. And then the second wave hit. A leaked audio clip surfaced from an unnamed source claiming to be inside the after-party venue. The clip was grainy, distorted, barely clear, but one phrase kept repeating. Don't do this here. No context. No confirmation. But people didn't need it. They connected it instantly to the car moment. And suddenly, that hesitation before Cardi got into the SUV took on a completely different meaning. Was that a warning? Was that the don't do this here moment people thought they just heard? And while fans were dissecting every second of the footage, another development dropped that completely flipped the narrative again. Because a celebrity gossip account, one that had been suspiciously accurate in the past, posted something that made everything worse. Sources say this DC situation wasn't a reconciliation, it was an intervention that went wrong. An intervention. That word changed everything. Because now people weren't imagining romance anymore. They were imagining pressure, control, confrontation. And suddenly, the story wasn't about love returning. It was about something being forced into motion. Almost immediately, fake screenshots started circulating. Supposed text messages between people in Cardi's circle. Mentions of unfinished conversations, unfinished business, and a decision that had to be made that night. None of it verified, but viral enough to take over the timeline. And then came the celebrity reactions. One unnamed industry figure posted, "This isn't a relationship story anymore, this is strategy." Another influencer commented, "If you think that car ride was emotional, you're not looking at the bigger picture." And that's when the narrative fully fractured. Because now there were three versions of events circulating at the same time. One side said it was love rekindled. Another said it was manipulation and timing. And the third, the most dangerous one, said it was never about emotion at all. It was about leverage. And that theory gained traction fast. Because as people dug deeper into the timeline, something didn't sit right. Why did Diggs show up with his entire family earlier that night? Why did Cardi arrive later than expected? Why did they avoid direct interaction for hours, only to leave together at the end? It didn't feel spontaneous anymore. It felt staged. And just when the internet thought it had figured it out, a new twist dropped that no one saw coming. A second woman came forward, this time claiming she had been in contact with Diggs during the same time period. She posted screenshots, blurred but convincing enough to cause panic. Messages that suggested overlapping conversations, overlapping visits, overlapping timelines. And one line in particular sent shockwaves through the internet. "You're not the only one being told to wait." That line changed everything again. Because now Cardi B wasn't just part of a reunion narrative, she was part of a triangle. And suddenly, people started re-examining everything. The silence, the timing, the hesitation before the car ride. Even the way Cardi looked away for a split second in the footage. Was she aware? Was she reacting? Or was she walking into something she didn't fully understand? And just as the speculation reached its peak, the original video clip was updated. A zoomed-in frame revealed something new. Diggs wasn't just reacting to Cardi's words in the car. He was looking past her, towards someone else, off camera, out of frame, watching. And that realization sent a new wave of panic through the internet. Because if he wasn't reacting to her, then who was he reacting to? And more importantly, who else was there that night that nobody has noticed yet? By the time that second freeze frame hit social media, the story had already escaped reality completely. This wasn't just a celebrity moment anymore. It was a full-blown internet war. And the reaction came in waves so fast that even major gossip outlets couldn't keep up. Within minutes, fan pages, sports pages, and celebrity blogs all started posting the same footage, but with completely different interpretations. One version zoomed in on Cardi B's face and labeled it emotional tension. Another zoomed in on Stefon Diggs and called it strategic control. A third version? That one just circled the entire SUV and captioned it, "Something big is being hidden here." And that was enough to set everything on fire again. On X, the discourse split instantly into two brutal camps. One side insisted this was love resurfacing in real time. They pointed to the car ride, the shared event, the synchronized timing, and called it inevitable. They always come back to each other. One viral post read, "This is real love. Messy but real." But the other side wasn't buying it. Not even for a second. They didn't get back together. One user wrote, "They got recorded together. That's not the same thing." And that post alone hit millions of views. Then came the influencers. One major pop culture commentator went live for nearly 40 minutes, breaking down every angle of the footage frame by frame, claiming, "This doesn't look like reconciliation, this looks like coordination. Everything is too clean, too timed, too structured." That word, structured, kept coming back. And it only fueled more paranoia. Because now people weren't just watching what happened, they were analyzing how it happened. Meanwhile, sports communities started getting involved too. Fans of Stefon Diggs began questioning his recent behavior, noting how inconsistent his public appearances had been in the weeks leading up to the DC event. "He's been moving different for a while," one fan wrote. Like he already knew something was coming. And Cardi B's fanbase responded just as intensely. Some defended her fiercely, arguing she was simply living her life. Others were more critical. "She's too smart for this to be accidental." One comment read, "If she's in that car, she knows exactly what's going on." That one sentence alone ignited thousands of debates. Then came the fake insider leaks flooding timelines. Anonymous accounts claiming to be close to production, close to management, or inside the circle began posting conflicting narratives. One said Cardi and Diggs had been in contact for weeks. Another claimed the entire DC appearance was meant to test public reaction. Another went even further, suggesting this wasn't a reunion, or something far more calculated. And just when it seemed like the chaos couldn't escalate further, a final, unexpected detail resurfaced from earlier that night. Something everyone had overlooked. A third vehicle, seen briefly in the background of a fan-recorded clip, following at a distance. No one could identify it. No one could confirm who was inside. But its presence changed the entire interpretation of the night again. Because now people weren't just asking who left together. They were asking who was watching them leave. The moment that third vehicle detail resurfaced, everything collapsed into a completely different story. Because suddenly, this was no longer about Cardi B and Stefon leaving an after-party together. It was about something being managed in real time with people watching from the edges. And the internet immediately spiraled into its final theory phase. Within hours, a new narrative took over timelines. This wasn't a reunion night. This was a monitored movement. And that's when the final twist hit. A short, anonymous voice note leaked onto social media. No verified source, no clear origin, just a clipped audio file that spread faster than anything else that night. In it, a distorted voice can be heard saying, "They weren't supposed to leave together like that, it wasn't the plan." Just that one sentence. And it was enough to detonate the entire conversation again. Because now people were no longer debating romance or reconciliation. They were questioning control. Who was coordinating the night? Who was watching? And why did everything feel like it was being timed? Then came the detail that broke the internet's last remaining certainty. A user zoomed into the background of one of the earliest clips from the venue and slowed it down frame by frame. What they found sent shockwaves across every platform. A man standing near the exit. Not a celebrity. Not security. Not media. Just watching. Holding a phone. And reacting before Cardi even moved toward the car. That meant one terrifying possibility. The movement was being tracked before it even happened. And that changed everything. Because if someone knew the timing in advance, if someone was already positioned outside, if multiple exits, multiple vehicles, and multiple sightings all aligned too perfectly, then this was never spontaneous. It was orchestrated. And as that theory spread, a final wave of posts appeared from people claiming to be near the circle. None of them confirmed, all of them vague, but all pointing to the same chilling idea. This wasn't a reunion. This was a controlled narrative moment. And just when it felt like the internet had reached its peak certainty, a final update dropped. A private message screenshot. Blurry, crooked, half cut off, but readable enough to freeze everything. The message simply said, "Let them believe what they want tonight." No sender, no context, no explanation. And suddenly, the entire story flipped one last time. Because if that message was real, then everything, the sightings, the silence, the car ride, the timing, the exits, was never meant to be understood in real time. It was meant to be misunderstood. And that raises a final question no one can answer right now. Were Cardi B and Stefon ever actually back together that night? Or were they just the center of a story that someone else carefully built around them? Because as of now, there is no confirmation, no denial, no clarity, just fragments. And in those fragments, the internet is still trying to find the truth. But the deeper you look, the less certain anything becomes. And that might be the most dangerous part of all. Because if this really was controlled, then the next move hasn't even happened yet. And when it does, the internet won't just react. It will explode all over again. And this time, nobody will be ready for it. And just like that, we're left with more questions than answers. Because nothing about this situation has been confirmed, nothing has been fully denied, and every new detail only makes the picture more confusing. Cardi B, Stefon that night in DC, the footage, the silence, the timing, the third vehicle, the leaked messages. Everything is still hanging in the air like something unfinished, something unresolved. And now it's your turn. Do you believe what we saw was real reconciliation, a genuine moment between two people finding their way back to each other? Or do you think this was something far more calculated, a controlled situation designed to shape a narrative the internet was never supposed to fully understand? Because both sides have evidence and neither side has the full truth. Drop your thoughts in the comments right now, no holding back. Are they really back together? Or are we watching the most carefully engineered celebrity storyline of the year unfold in real time? And if you think this story ends here, think again. Because the moment anything else drops, another clip, another sighting, another accidental leak, we're breaking it down instantly. So make sure you're subscribed, stay tuned, and stay alert. Because this story is far from over, and the next twist might change everything all over again.